Hello everyone, Professor Manoel Gadi here. As in this week activity, we only had time to do the fixed parameters without receiving the parameters from a website and a HTML. And this was the work you had to deliver. I am repeating that process here just to make it shorter and then completing with the final part that is bonus. You do not need to hand it in that little part. It's just that if you want to watch this video and learn how to do it with parameters. So right here, you remember you have where to deploy the work, and what you need to deliver is simply your message prop default fixed probability of default and so on and so forth. So, and here is my GitHub. So you can go to github.com/Manoel Gadi. You can go to repositories and search for impact, and then you get impact right here, and you have all the codes that we need for this part. First thing first, let's go to, we're gonna do everything in PythonAnywhere. So, and the idea is to deploy a machine learning model into PythonAnywhere. So can you go there, logging into PythonAnywhere? I'm logging in right here. Once you are inside, remember in consoles, you need to delete any console that you have here if you have any. So I created one just to know that what you need to kill. If you don't have it, you do not need to kill it. Just kill it, everything you have here. And then you go to the web. We can only host one website in PythonAnywhere. So unfortunately, we need to drop the previous one that we have if you're doing it if you're doing this process. You need to go here, delete the web. And then we're gonna click add a new web app. We do not want to pay, so we're going to say next. We're going to use Flask, and then you get the latest version of Python you have, probably 3.13 or later, depending on when you're watching this video. My one is quite late, so 3.10. Right here, you call it, change the name to demo. Let's say demo flask app.py, and then you do next. You should have a new folder called demo. Here I have the website to be share.pythonanywhere. Remember, right here, we are going to put all the files inside the folder demo. So we need the working directory to be the same as the source code, because we're going to put the files there. So can you click there and write demo, the same name you put it in the one above, and then you could reload the page, and then you right click and say open in a new tab. And if you click on the new tab, you should see your user.pythonanywhere.com, hello from Flask. Very good. So if you come, that's the front end. Let's go back to the back end, and we need to start deploying the model. So let's go to files, and right at the left, we have the folder demo right here. So I'm clicking on the demo folder, and right there, we need to upload the file that generates the model. So if you remember, we have inside impact right here, a file called fintech.py. Here, I'm going to click on this file. You can download it, or we can simply, this time, create right here a file called fintech.py, new file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it on the right and have this one at the left. So I go back here and I say, you know what? I'm going to copy all the content right here. So if I click and say Command A or Control A, I get all the content and I paste it in this side, Control V. I say save because I'm seeing unsaved right here. And this is a script. So what I have at the right, so I can just run it. And after running it, it will give me some information about the model, but at the end, we'll say model and dataset saved successfully. Now what we need to do, that would be nice, is just write exit, open and close parentheses, and press enter so that we close the console here before leaving. So you just say exit, open and close parentheses, enter, and then we can go right here where it says demo, and this will open the folder, and what we have is the Excel file. We're not going to use it for anything, but we have the fintech.joblib. This is a piece of memory of the model that was generated here in this Linux machine, and we put it in a file. Because that was created from the fintech.py, and now we're going to deploy it inside the web. Remember, the web is running inside this Flask app.py. So this is the guy that we need to open now. And right here at the left in my GitHub, I have a flask.app.py, Flask app.py as well. And here I'm just going to be copying things around. So the first thing I need to copy is this import pandas here. So we're going to use pandas. So I can even just put it pandas right there. And then we need line 10 and line 11. Line 10 and line 11, what we'll do for us is actually import the model. So if I save this guy, and actually I'm going to say here version 1, so that I know that I've changed something. Don't worry about this, it's just saying the pandas is not being used right now. But we can say save, and come here and reload the web page. And then as it reloads, remember we had it right here. I'm moving it to this side, our front end. The front end is the to be sure PythonAnywhere.com, and if you reload that part, you get a version 1. That means that, well, our model was okay. It actually loaded correctly. What could be the problem if it doesn't load? It could be that you failed to go here in web and put demo. So stop the video, follow the steps as I'm doing, otherwise it will break. So go, we have the version 1 there. Let's now put the model to work. So we need to copy from 13 to 30. So from 13 to 30, we put it right there. And what is this doing? It's getting a parameters from our model, time on books, total paid, and total debt in arrears, getting some values for that, creating a dictionary, and then transforming it in a data frame, and then passing it for getting the probability of default and returning the probability of default. Why do we do a dictionary? Because that's how we receive data from the internet as a JSON format that is very similar to a dictionary. And why do we need the data frame? Because that's how Python works with sklearn and the model. So we need to make this little transformation here and then make the calculation. So here, before saving anything, I will go here and say, instead of version 1, I'm going to say version 2, so I can feel that something changed in when I refresh the front end. So I'm going to click here to save because it was unsaved, and I'm going to reload the page. And once the backend is reload, I go back to the front end and refresh it. And as you can see, I get a version 2. But Professor, nothing changed. Yeah, of course, we implemented a new route here. The base route gets my hello from Flask. To actually invoke this route that invokes the function, I need to copy this little route here and put it right there at the end of my page. And if I put it, I get the probability. And if you get to this point, here is what you need to make a screenshot. You just need a screenshot of this. And by the way, all probabilities will be different, so because the data is being generated randomly, so you can hand it in. This is what you need. The rest is the bonus part that hasn't been presented in the class, and I'm presenting it right now. So one of the things that makes this model a little bit better would be to actually get the data, the parameters from a website. from a HTML. So for that, I need to copy this part right there. So, and if I copy it from my backend, the probability of default, as you can see. So prob default, this guy will receive the parameters, the times on book, total paid, and total debt from the web. Create a Python dictionary and then a data frame and then return the probability. But Professor, how do we get this parameter? Well, first thing first, we need to go up there in the top and import extra libraries. So we should copy this whole row here and put it in number 4 there. We need render template and then request. Request will receive the parameters, but we need to actually give a form to the user. So when the user comes to the website, it shouldn't receive a message saying, hello from Flask. It should actually say, oh, this is a nice HTML. Can you go there and fill the form? How do you do that? Well, you return render template index.html. And by the way, hello world, I don't really like it. So I normally call this function index. So right now, Professor, that's exactly your code. Yeah, if you want, you can actually, for safety, you can actually copy the whole code and paste the whole code right here and save it. But this is not going to work yet because we do not have an index.html. So we need to go to demo right here. And inside demo, that is outside the flask_app.py, we need to come here and create a templates folder, in plural, templates. And what do we put inside the templates folder? We're going to create a index.html file. That's the file we need to return. And it's right here. So on the left on my GitHub, you have the index. So you can go, click inside, Command A or Control A, Command C, and paste it right there. So what it does, it says calculate probability of default and get the parameters for us, and then submit the action to the prob default with the method get. So we save this. We can now reload the page from here. We don't need to go anywhere. And then to be sure, now we do not need this prob default anymore. We need to delete it, and then we can delete the slash, or we may keep the slash, it doesn't matter. It will go to our HTML. Remember, our website returns the HTML. We put the values there, 20, 5,000, it can be any value, and then 1,000. And we say submit, and we get the default probability. And as you can see at the top here, those are the parameters. And Professor, if I select these values and do not have the form, but I have this link and I change the values to other values, it also works and gets me a different probability. And this is the way an API actually works. It directly fills up the values in the parameters for us. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the deployment of a model here and learned, and for people that were more advanced, learn a little bit from deploying with the HTML and so on and so forth. So thank you so much. Have a nice day.